Booyah.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, loading into what is game number 3 of this series. It is all tied up 1-1. It is a best of 7 between WhiteRa and Drewbie. This third match will be on Tal'Darim Altar, of course, MLG style. And we'll see what these two players have in store. Drewbie is going to be our yellow Terran player down in the bottom right corner, and WhiteRa will be our red Protoss up in the top right.
That's exactly right. And we just saw Drewbie go for mass Hellions, which is not something you normally see. But maybe he was feeling a little bit frisky in the particular, and just because of the map choice, with Desert Oasis being in there. Very, very odd for Desert Oasis to be picked, but WhiteRa went ahead and did it anyway, showing us that he knows all about this game as he sends his first probe out and going to get a nice full scout of Drewbie's base, actually going in the correct direction. So we will be able to poke around there, see exactly what his opponent is up to.
Yes, and I did indeed misspeak. It is 0-2, 2-0 in favor of Drewbie. That first match default was throwing me off a bit there, Janitor, but it is 2-0. So WhiteRa still has plenty of opportunity to come back. The beautiful aspect of the best of 7 series, I guess, allows you a little bit of breathing room in these early matches. But this is sort of an interesting mechanic that we went from a very small map such as Desert Oasis now into the biggest map in the pool. Tal'Darim Altar is exceptionally large. Even though they're in the closer positions, they're still not really that close. And we'll see what WhiteRa decides to do here. That fast expand just didn't work well for him in that last match. Drewbie was basically all in on one base, and he was able to put enough pressure to shut down that fast expand. It does look like WhiteRa is going to gear up for a Nexus first once again here as that probe comes out and he's saving up those minerals. So he is going to go ahead and fast expand. He did scout that base of Drewbie, as you mentioned, Janitor, so he knows that Drewbie is somewhat nearby, but he is going to go for that more macro-intensive play once again.
Yeah, or at least as nearby as you can get on Tal'Darim Altar, but that first Marine is on its way out. Still, WhiteRa getting a nice full scout of the base. He sees the refinery. I think he'll chill with that probe there. He wants to see if a tech lab is going to be coming down on this barracks. And if you take a look at the WhiteRa cam, no, he's not going to chill there. There comes the Marine, going to chase him away. Not going to allow him to see that tech lab go down on the barracks as that expansion is on its way up the gateway, about halfway finished, and it looks like Drewbie going to be going in the correct direction as well. Sees the expansion and queues up a bunker. WhiteRa doesn't have vision of this, and his probe is not coming back to the base. It's actually going to circle around and see what's happening in Drewbie's base again, but this could be huge. A bunker is going to go down here, and if WhiteRa doesn't scout it, this could be hard to deal with.
Yeah, this could be very, very hard to deal with indeed. WhiteRa could fall into the same trap he did in the last match where he expanded way too early and just didn't have the army value to deal with the one base play of Drewbie. WhiteRa still has not scouted the bunker. There it is with the completion of the Nexus, finally getting enough vision to see the bunker. The first Marine is inside that bunker and his second one is on the way down. WhiteRa does have some probes on the way. Not sure what he's going to try to do with 4 probes here. That one Marine will be able to do quite a bit of damage. He's going to try and take out that SCV building the bunker. One probe goes down, and WhiteRa is going to back them up. He's going to chrono boost out the Zealot in that first gateway. Another gateway has been completed, and that cybernetics core just finishing up as well. A lot of potential for WhiteRa to hold this off, but a lot more units streaming in for Drewbie. The Marauder is on the way, and it is joining the battle now. That concussive shell upgrade has been completed, and he will be able to abuse that against this poor Zealot here. WhiteRa is forced to back up, and he's going to bring Drewbie is going to bring another SCV and repair up this bunker.
Yeah, and now he's producing a Reaper out of there. Going to continue this expansion, or this harassment, as he starts his own expansion. This is a great job by Drewbie. Drewbie going to be able to put significant pressure on, and I'm not sure what WhiteRa can do at this point. The Nexus already has its shields down. The Stalker is out, but with these bunkers, these Marines are going to be able to shoot at the Stalkers without too much of a problem. You can see the Marauders adding on the DPS, but here it comes. The Nexus is in yellow, almost at half health. This might be a quick game again. Drewbie just putting on so much pressure, expanding, and he's going to be able to take out this natural expansion of WhiteRa, who took a Nexus first and wanted to easily win this game. WhiteRa is going to transition here, it looks like, into a 4-gate, so we'll see how much pressure he can put on as that pylon finishing up and unsupply capping him. But Drewbie with 2 bunkers in the front, really shutting down WhiteRa's fast expand.
Yeah, now could turn into an interesting game as Drewbie put on that early pressure, denied the fast expand from WhiteRa, but we do see a 4-gate is on the way, and the 4-gate could potentially play out enough pressure to really punish Drewbie for going for a relatively fast expand as well. So this could take a turn in the opposite direction. It kind of depends if Drewbie decides to overproduce on those workers a little bit or continue supplementing this army value. Keep in mind that Drewbie has basically no information about what WhiteRa is doing. He knows he has an economic lead, but he has no clue what tech path is coming his way. It could be DTs, it could be Blink Stalkers, or it just could be a 4-gate. So we'll certainly see what happens.
You're exactly right about that, and I love this play from WhiteRa. He's actually taking down his third rocks. Looks like he wants to take a very fast third expansion. If you take a look in the base of Drewbie, 3 bunkers are down, and Drewbie looks like he's getting ready for some kind of big push to come from WhiteRa. As he saw all 4 gateways, he knows that a 4-gate is out and possible, but WhiteRa just looks like he wants to take a very fast third, take a risk, and get back into this game. Quick scan there going down from Drewbie. Does see that the second is back, so this might be his cue to push out again, but Drewbie certainly in an awkward spot. Here comes some forces from WhiteRa, might be feigning some pressure.
Yeah, and this is kind of the problem of having that limited intel. Now that Drewbie's dropped the scan, he might be feeling a little bit more safe. Certainly with this many bunkers down in his front, we see Drewbie still has a nice little army advantage, and without any sentries, it's going to be very difficult for WhiteRa to do any serious pressure, as you mentioned. Just moving up and trying to feint a little bit of pressure might be the right play here, but I have to agree with you, Janitor. I love the choice from WhiteRa. Realizing he's behind economically, he needs to take a chance and just expand very, very quickly and try and catch up as far as economy is concerned. Glancing at Harvesters, WhiteRa still slightly behind by about 6, but he should be able to bring that back somewhat easily if he continues to use that chrono boost on those valuable Harvesters.
Yeah, and the scary part here for Drewbie is that he's really not going to expect that third at all. WhiteRa is going to start to bounce back into this game. Drewbie has no clue that it's over there, but he is producing that starport. Looks like he's going into that very, very standard style of TVP play. The turret is on its way as well. Charge going down for WhiteRa, getting that Twilight Council shortly after the expansion went back up. And looks like he's just going to be transitioning into that Zealot Archon style, as that's become very, very popular in TVP as of late. But the third Nexus is up. Drewbie does not know that it's available, but he is continuing with this Marine Marauder production, looking to push out probably around the time that +1 is finished.
Yeah, certainly right. And don't forget, Drewbie does have Stim completed as well, so he could do a pretty effective timing push here before too long. We'll have to see exactly how he decides to execute that. But as you mentioned, the longer this game goes on, the more of an advantage WhiteRa is going to generate for himself. We see WhiteRa has now caught up in Harvesters, only 1 behind, and he's continuing to produce them significantly faster than Drewbie, because he has 3 of those valuable base structures to produce them that much more effectively. I do like the choice from Drewbie here to go ahead and get down that Ghost Academy, so we will see some of those energy units on the field before too long. As you mentioned, we will probably see some Archons before too long as well. It's really going to come down to the timing from Drewbie, though. If he can do a very nice timing attack before this third base from WhiteRa really kicks in and gives him a huge advantage, he may be able to seal the deal, but if he sits back and continues to play defense like he is now, I'm not so sure he's going to have enough.
Yeah, and 2 ghosts are on the way from Drewbie. The +1 just now finishing an armory going down, so wanting to continue up those upgrades out of the engineering bay. You can see the +1 armor is on the way. The factory is floating around, going to start trying to get as much information as possible. But here it comes, Drewbie trying to get a good scouting intel down, but WhiteRa throwing down a stalker, knows exactly what he's doing, and quickly denies that scout from Drewbie. So we'll have to see when exactly Drewbie wants to push out. The +1 armor is on its way for WhiteRa, who's going to be behind in upgrades for a little bit at least. Drewbie's starport is out now, and it looks like it's producing those medevacs 2 at a time, although it has stopped for the moment. Combat shield on the way, and a drop getting ready to commence for Drewbie as it makes its way. It's across the map. Those stalkers are shooting down the factory. It's going to get a nice, decent scout here and look into the base and see, surprisingly, not much. WhiteRa is throwing down quite a few more gateways to maybe trick Drewbie into thinking that he only has 2 bases.
Yeah, and it looks like this factory will burn down before it can make it over to the spot, but it has been scouted by Drewbie, so he does know that WhiteRa is on 3 bases. As you mentioned, that drop is loaded up and on the way. 8 Marines in this dropship and about to drop in the main. We'll see how much damage he can do here. WhiteRa still has not scouted it. That pylon finishing up will grant him vision of the dropship. We'll see if he was paying attention to that mini-map, and it looks like he was. Those units are on the way, and the Stalker should get there in time before the Marines do too much crazy damage here. He is going to go ahead and focus down the Forge. I love this choice from Drewbie right here. The Marines are going to stem, and he may be able to deny that upgrade. That would be a huge pick, and he does. The shield, or the armor upgrade gets completely denied, and he gets away with the dropship. Only 1 Marine went down. A beautiful play from Drewbie. He's going to keep up that harassment, though. Another dropship is on the way with 8 Marines headed to that newest expansion of WhiteRa, and he's going to put some pressure on that front door.
That's exactly right. These drops are going to be very, very effective, trying to keep our eye on both of them. There are going to be plenty of EMPs to go around here. He is going to start harassing that natural again. Great obnoxious use of this ledge from Drewbie. The drop does quickly get shut down. As you can see, all of WhiteRa's forces are over there, but here it comes. Drewbie is going to pick up and load off those Marines into the natural.
Yeah, and there are quite a few High Templar here with very little energy. Storm not yet completed. 2 Archons are on the way, and Drewbie is actually not being nearly as aggressive here as he could be. That 3rd drop in the main is going to commence once again. A couple of Zealots there that will deter the pressure, and Drewbie trying to split the attention of WhiteRa, but unfortunately WhiteRa's APM is just a little bit too high for Drewbie's drop tactics here to be as effective as he would like. He's going to drop that scan to try and scout out that army, but he is not going to see anything. Still harassing in the back. Looks like these Stalkers could take out the dropship if only WhiteRa had Blink. Drewbie is going to choose to unload again. That dropship will get taken out, and those Marines will get taken down as well, but Drewbie has moved into the front. WhiteRa with his forces split might not have enough. A beautiful sandwich from WhiteRa, though, coming in the back, and it looks like Drewbie may be coming out on top. Still hard to tell exactly who will come out ahead, and WhiteRa will be able to warp in more units to supplement here, and it looks like WhiteRa will be able to defend this Janitor. Plenty of units left over, and a couple of dropships left. Drewbie did do a split attack and took out quite a few units at that 3rd, but still WhiteRa has all of his bases intact and will live to see another day.
Take a look at that workers killed tab. Oh my god, Drewbie with those drops has killed 30 probes. That is painful. WhiteRa's 3rd base is basically unmined right now. All of the gateway units try to do as much damage as possible, but like you said, picking that +1 at the that +1 armor a while ago is going to hurt WhiteRa quite significantly in these barracks versus gateway unit fights. But Drewbie has done a nice job of those drops, and another drop just about to commence in the main, but there's more than enough to stop that.
Yeah, WhiteRa is doing such a great job fending off these split attacks with his army, and even though all of those workers have been killed, if you take a look at that worker count right now, it is completely even. WhiteRa has done a great job producing those harvesters very, very rapidly and continuing to work that army value. He's found that sweet spot between producing army units and producing worker units, which is allowing him to stay in this game. That's really what's allowing him to deal with these drops and also have enough workers to keep up in production. It looks like we are going to see Drewbie go for another attack here. A nice split from WhiteRa right there, trying to avoid an EMP and doing a good job of it. A slight army advantage for Drewbie right here as he pushes up, afraid to overcommit. A beautiful storm from WhiteRa, forcing those units to move back down the hill. A very defensive storm, but good nonetheless. An Archon is in the mix here, and another HT leading the way, ready to drop. A beautiful storm. Will it go down? I don't see any EMPs coming down. And oh, a beautiful storm right on those army values. 1 HT does get taken out. Nice micro from Drewbie right here, and a nice split from Drewbie trying to mitigate that storm damage. Both players trying to avoid overcommitting here, but it looks like WhiteRa is just going to go for it. A lot of weak units here. Drewbie overstimming just a little bit, but it looks like WhiteRa's not going to have enough units to clean this up as well as he would like. Oh my gosh, Janitor, so many weak bio units.
That's exactly right, and WhiteRa needs to buy himself some time here. He does have a couple of High Templars warping in as those 4 Marines make their way over to the 3rd again. A total of about 15 kills between them, and now they're going to continue racking up those kills. WhiteRa morphs in a couple of those Stalkers to deal with it and cleans that up pretty significantly, but WhiteRa is on the defense right now wants to continue putting on pressure. Drewbie really needs to get some good EMPs here, as WhiteRa will be able to supplement this army quite nicely with that high number of gateways. The scan goes down, and that's going to be Drewbie's cue to push in here. Here comes the EMP. A great job hitting a couple of those high Templars, but not all of them. And here it comes. More storms are going down. Another EMP comes down. Drewbie trying to scoot and shoot his way back, but a beautiful storm, and Drewbie runs through it a second time and does even more damage to himself. The Archons now cleaning up this force from Drewbie.
Yeah, it looks like WhiteRa is going to be able to pull ahead here, and this game is actually taking a turn for the more interesting. If you look at income, there was a time where WhiteRa was so far ahead because Drewbie was locked on only one base worth of income, but he has since expanded twice to spread that income around. WhiteRa has definitely brought himself back into this game, and he is in a very good position to actually end up taking this game home. And that one fatal mistake from Drewbie right there, running back and forth between those storms, did that crippling amount of damage that WhiteRa needed just to take that little edge. One thing to keep in mind, though, WhiteRa is very far behind in upgrades. Right now,